what he does is to demonize one section of society so as to promote his own position. He has been doing that for many years, and he started best at 2007 when he was talking of 41 against 1, demonizing anybody who was associated with the Kikuyu. You will learn with time. And you should not come and cheat us. You know, people like Kipchumba Murkomen, without Ruto, they have no address of their own. I've told you, Sholei, Murkomen, Sudi, they have no address of their own without William Ruto. If this landscape was left free and I meet them on the ground, they have no address of their own. They believe that we are supporting Ruto and therefore we are associated with powers that be, that is protecting the Kalenjin nation. The Kalenjins don't need protection from any individual. We'll be here in perpetuity. Kila mtu anaamuka kwake. Wengine, they have not even had a cup of tea. They don't even have water in the house. But they go that they want to vote for Richard Mwenja Kamau. Then after being elected the MP for Kanini, you run and you say you want to be Minister for Industry or Minister for Economic Planning and National Development. If I was a trolley, I would have said change, but I don't want to say that.
And you're just in time for Richard Mwenja exclusive. It is such a distinct privilege to have your company with us. I'm so happy that you've joined us yet again for this program, which has much to do with civic education. I'm here with none other than former Minister Kipruto Arap Kirwa, ready to unpack the day's conversation. How are you doing today?
Very well.
You're good?
Very good, and I thank God for it. And we are nearing Christmas.
Talking about us auditing the progress we've made and the place of dissenting voices therein in that auditing process. This far, we have seen in Kenya, dissenting voices are loosely translating into evil spirits. That is from the optic of President William Ruto. He's wondering that there is this spirit of people opposing everything on the internet. Every government agenda must be met by a hard stance. And I want to understand from your lenses, Waziri, some believe that you are part of this evil spirits president is referring to, always taking concern with this agenda. Are we indeed evil spirits?
First of all, let us assist the government by making them realize that they should come out with clarity on any of the issues. I'm sure Kenyans are not opposed. It is human nature, internationally and universally, that human beings resist change unless they are properly explained. So it is a role of the government, first of all, to explain why are they changing from one system to another. And this has happened since independence, and even before independence. Even the colonial government used to take time to form a commission that goes through issues or policy that they want to change. And once they are convinced that the new policy is better, now they take it down to the level of people. Now today in free Kenya, like what we have today, you have no right to tell us that you have a better system without telling us how do we get to that system, how is it better than the previous system, what are the reasons. That's why even in the bill, there is what they call objects and memorandum of any bill that we are trying to pass that gives reasons why you want to move from one system to a new system. What are the reasons? How do we go about it? How do we take care of assets and liabilities from one institution like NHIF to the other new institution called the Taifa Care? These are some of the things that the current regime, because of either not having experienced people or just having condescending attitude about the position of individuals in society, do not spend time to explain to us why we are moving to the new dispensation. Number two, the president should also realize that you cannot condemn anybody who has an opinion at variance with yours. Because the essence of democracy is to give each an individual person a right to say no unless is persuaded. And when somebody says no, he can say no by protesting. He can say no by going into a court of law. He can say no by articulating an alternative position, and it is within the framework of democracy. He can say no because the process is not transparent, like the issue of Adani, the issue of G2G, the issue of poisoned oil, the issue and many other issues that we've known. Adani, whether it is in Ketrago, whether Adani in the airport, or Adani in any other form that we do not know. So, for the president to jump to that level is actually in keeping with his own style of doing politics.
Which is?
That is to say, what he does is to demonize one section of society so as to promote his own position. He has been doing that for many years, and he started best at 2007 when he was talking of 41 against 1, demonizing anybody who was associated with the Kikuyu in 2007.
Divine and conquer.
Yes,
sort of strategy.
Then 2013, now they came back with the referendum against the Hague and making Raila to be the culprit responsible for the Hague. Then after that, after winning 2013, because he wanted to part ways with Uhuru, he comes back with the Hustler and Dynasty. That was the rallying call all the way up to the end, and calling Raila Muganga, mzee wa kitendawili, calling Uhuru the Dynasty. So now after 2013, he had another victim called the Ford Foundation. Then he moved from Ford Foundation, he blamed it on Uhuru, that there are some Uhuru lackeys still making it impossible for his government to prosper. Then now he had another victim in the name of Rigathi Gachagua, saying he was lonely up there because he did not have a deputy like Kithure Kindiki.
He was a lone voice.
A lone voice up there in the temple or the chapel, wherever it is. Then now, Rigathi Gachagua is no more. He has been sidelined. Now he has been blaming on all other men. So that's why he's coming back with this evil spirit.
Ni sisi mapepo.
Sasa anatuita mapepo na sisi sijui tutamuita nani. Jambo ambalo ni muhimu hapa sisi saa hizi ni kumwombea Mwenyezi Mungu ampe hekima, subra na mawazo mapana.
Solomonic wisdom?
Yeah, or something beyond that.
I want to understand, from what you've told us just seconds ago, is the president always out to look for a monster to flatten?
Because he does not believe that he can be wrong. Even in areas where he has not gone through serious study, he believes he knows. He believes he knows, even areas he doesn't even understand.
Out of natural talent or illusion?
Well, it should be an illusion. It cannot be natural talent. You cannot be talented in everything anyway. And you know, some of the talented individuals at times, or some of the geniuses are mad. I'm not suggesting the president is mad, but he cannot say he knows everything. But he pretends to know everything. Even at times he burns out statistics that are contradictory. So at times you say, okay, where was he? Why is he telling us statistics not available in any of the books? Has he ever told you what is he says we have a lot of debt. Has he ever given you a figure that is constant? The commission informed the other day to come and report back to him about the debt portfolio that we are suffering, that is weighing heavily on our shoulders. He has never told us anything like that. When he doesn't lie, he's flying. And of course, there is this old man called Kioni. He says all the time, Ruto lies. Ruto lies all the time because that is his nature. I don't know.
And you hold the similar view as Waziri? I
seem to share that.
Let's circle back to June this year.
Yeah.
At the height of the Gen Z protest,
yeah.
Part of the ruling regime of the day profiled them as faceless anarchists. Few months later, we are seeing now some of those having dissenting voices being termed as evil spirits. Do you think it will come to a point whereby the president will be snared by his own words when it comes to the diction when referring to those not on the same page with him?
One thing I know with him is never ashamed of anything. And he can conveniently pretend that he has not heard what you've said when he knows it's likely to ensnare him into some serious trouble. So I'm yet to see him admitting that was too much for me. He would have admitted that time. But you remember he was seesawing. He apologizes. He's on the offensive. He appreciates the Gen Zs. Today, the other day, he condemns Adani for having been indicted elsewhere internationally, and yet for 3 months you are telling him Adani is wrong. He has done this in Bangladesh, he has done this in Sydney, Australia, he has done this in India itself, he has done this in Europe. Then he says, okay, he has come to call it Damascus moment. He has realized Adani is bad, and therefore we are cancelling Ketrago and we are cancelling the JKIA. Then he goes to Taita Taveta and he says, we are evil spirit. And the airport, we are going to build it whether you like it or not.
And that those criticizing the JKA deal have even never set foot in an airport.
In an airport. Must you go to the airport to know there is a problem? Must you go to Ketrago? Must you be an electrical engineer for you to know that there is a problem about Adani in Ketrago? Must you go everywhere to know that there is a problem? Must we have gone to KICC to know that KICC was built with public resources and yet Kanu took it away from the public? Must we have gone to Kenya to know that there was impropriety in somebody transferring shares of ADC to himself and trying to own the company before Kibaki won, that we took away the company from an individual? You know, these are things that are in books.
Waziri, you've done psychology, and I want to understand, when you see this kind of tone, condescending tone come from the government,
yes,
in the directed against dissenting voices, do you credit that to the juvenile excitement that can come with power when it gets to your head?
That's the making of a dictator. You see, when somebody all the time as a scapegoat, that's a dictator. Somebody who doesn't believe he can go wrong, that's a dictator. Somebody who doesn't believe there could be an opinion that is at variance with his, and that opinion may be the right position. That's a dictator. Somebody who doesn't believe any other person can also be accepted beyond him, and that can be appreciated regardless of the age, the position in life. That's a dictator. All dictators have certain tendencies that they are deluded into believing they are the best that were manufactured for this country.
So would it be safe to say that unto us, on August 2022, a dictator was born?
Yes, I've said it before. I've been saying it, that we have a dictator in town. I don't know. I think at times you don't watch other stations.
Waziri, I want to understand this.
Yeah.
When NCCK, a section of the church, comes forth and say, the president is a liar, he thrives in instilling fear.
Yes, and falsehoods.
And he has elevated falsehoods.
Yes.
Would you wish to borrow the sentiments from the church and make it your own with regards to the president?
Well, I am not borrowing, I'm endorsing that position. That all those three things, he wants to instill fear by using whatever you call Subarus to make himself not vulnerable. He elevates falsehoods by giving us statistics that don't exist. He lies even when there is no need for him to lie, because he's used to it. And I've always known, usually when I'm watching the news, when he says something, I would easily know, the way his eyes move, I know he has lied.
Have you done psychology to ascertain?
Well, I did psychology, and I did even industrial psychology. But I know him better because I've known him for almost 40 years.
But you are his biggest cheerleader before the 2022 election, before you decamped to Azimio.
No, I'm not a cheerleader. I was one of his advisors. I was in the political bureau. Yes, and then I realized now the two cannot last for 5 years. Rigathi, Gachagua and William Ruto. Because one is a man of the truth, the other one is a liar. They will not exist in the same home. It came to pass. 2 years later, things were not working. How do you want me to get vindicated?
For those criticizing the government like you,
yes.
I'm
calling out on the government, I'm not criticizing.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
DP Kithure Kindiki has a word for you guys, and he believes that there's need for you to criticize them with love. They are not at war with minds like yours.
Yes.
Don't you think you can do your calling out in a more polite way or in a better way other than going hard, bare knuckles on the government?
But I've told you.
Criticize us with love. Can't
Yes,
you do that?
I've told you I like William Ruto, but I don't trust him. That's the difference. I love him. He's my friend. He's my younger brother. We come from the same clan. Haven't you been told? The most accommodating clan in the Nandi community. He's from my clan. When he came from Kipsigis, he moved to my clan.
The Talai clan?
No, not Talai. Talai clan is a special clan with the totem of a lion. Yeah. That's a special group of Nandis. William came and he joined my clan. And the father,
You
of course.
love him, but you don't trust him.
I don't trust him. It would be wrong. But I like him. He's a nice guy.
There are those who seem to love him and also trust him, and they're going to do this to the end of time. People like Energy CSOPO and I, he's come forth the other day and say, as the Luo community, we are going to support Ruto today, tomorrow, and
Forever.
forever.
Okay. You should have said 2027. Because forever means that he wants to make him immortal. No, it's not immortal. Number two, Opiyo Wandayi is a job seeker. And he's been given a job. He left his constituents. I just want to remind him of one man who brought UNEP to Kenya with assistance of the late President Jomo Kenyatta and other people, Odero Joy. Odero Joy was an MP somewhere in Nyanza. He knows the constituency better. When he was elected, I think 1969 or 74, he vacated his seat to join the UN. Later on, of course, when the contract ended, he wanted to go back to the constituency. Nobody wanted to see him again. He was never elected until he passed on much later.
So for
Opiyo Wandayi is going the same route.
Political sycophancy?
Yeah, sycophancy. And also, when you are given, if today, the people of Trans Nzoia or the people of Cherangani gave me a position of member of parliament or senator Trans Nzoia, then I come to Nairobi and I'm made minister, I will not take it. When you are elected by people, it is an endorsement that is more divine. It's not like that of an individual making you a minister tomorrow. The other day, you are a advisor on an area that you may not even understand, like Moses Kuria. No. Or you are demoted like Eliud Owalo.
It is a distinct privilege.
Yeah, to be elected.
To be elected.
It's a nice feeling. Why did I come back? I was earning more than $1 million in IGAD as a special envoy. More than that of a minister because there was no taxation. Earning in dollars, by now I would be earning about $2 million. You need 2 million Kenya shillings. But I came back because I was desiring to be in a position of election. Today I'm talking too much about myself. But you see, at times the best examples are the ones you've gone through. When you are elected, I want to advise our members of parliament, including Kipchumba Murkomen, elected by the people of the great Keio Marakwet County as their senator. Then you leave it and you come and you become Minister for Sports and you are now being heckled in Eldoret town, the home of your president. People like our sister Alice Wahome, you are elected by the people of Kandara, then you leave it and you become CS Water. Later on you disagree with your peers, you are taken to lands with so many scandals. By the time you go back to Kandara, people will say we don't know you anymore.
You'll be a blemished lamb?
It is a serious problem. When you are elected, it's a privilege that the people have given you. Kila mtu anaamuka kwake. Wengine, they have not even had a cup of tea. They don't even have water in the house. But they go that they want to vote for Richard Mwenja Kamau. Then after being elected the MP for Kanini, you run and you say you want to be Minister for Industry or Minister for Economic Planning and National Development. If I was a trolley, I would have said change, but I don't want to say that. It is important.
You don't want me to donate my economic expertise
no.
to the government through the
Go
appointment?
Go direct. So like if I wanted to be appointed a minister, I don't have to go and run. And when I run, I win. It means you are gambling with the people.
I want to understand this. You have been here for quite a while, and probably you can measure wisdom to a better, in a better scale than us. When Kipchumba Murkomen, CS Sports come forth and say the church, the media, and many of us out here who probably have a dissenting views on some aspects are calling out the president because of his tribe. Do you read an iota of wisdom from the sentiments of Kipchumba Murkomen?
You know, they are just trying to ethnicize the country. I'm happy. That's why I was saying I'm happy the president met President Uhuru Kenyatta so that we bring down this tribal tension. You know, we've demonized, and I've seen even Ahmed Abdel Nasir, is he called? Yes, the lawyer, making it look like corruption when it comes to Kikuyu regime is noble. Now we are talking about corruption because the Kalenjin in town. And he goes ahead to say, you know, the problem with Kalenjins, they eat with new people in town. But the Kikuyus, they eat with the old faces. And because when a neighbor steals, you don't see it, but when a stranger steals, you see it. I find that condescending. Corruption by any other name, whether it's by Kikuyu, by Luya, by Kalenjin, corruption is corruption. It is a cancer that has destroyed our society. We don't have to appreciate corruption just because I'm partaking in it. And that's why we in the political class, we've been made to look like we are cheap, selfish, and greedy individuals who, when it is convenient, we say we embrace it. When it is not convenient for us, we say we are not embracing it. I want us to say corruption by any other name is corruption. It takes away what belongs to the public to private pockets. And we should not appreciate whether it's a Kikuyu, whether it's a Kamba, whether it's a Luya, whether it's a Luo, whether it's a Turkana, you know, whatever name that you call it. The president should not be the president that presides over corruption, doling some niceties to his community or his cronies. Corruption by any other name is corruption.
One want to keep Kipchumba Murkomen from you.
For him?
Yeah.
He will learn with time. You will learn with time. And you should not come and cheat us. You know, people like Kipchumba Murkomen, without Ruto, they have no address of their own. I've told you, Sholei, Murkomen, Sudi, they have no address of their own without William Ruto. If this landscape was left free and I meet them on the ground, they have no address of their own. They believe that we are supporting Ruto and therefore we are associated with powers that be that is protecting the Kalenjin nation. The Kalenjins don't need protection from any individual. We'll be here in perpetuity. Just like you cannot fight the Kikuyu and you expect that now when you say you are fighting Kikuyus, you become a hero in Eldoret or any other place. You cannot be fighting a community and you expect to be called a hero.
Talking of Oscar Sudi, a report by Mzalendo Watch was made the other day, and he was among the most silent members of parliament. He was among those listed as the most silent members of parliament when it comes to legislation in parliament. Did this come as a surprise for you, Oscar Sudi making it to that list of people who've never uttered a word in parliament when it comes to legislation?
No, because he could not even read his own swearing in. You know, when he was being sworn in, he mumbled some words. Some of it, it was not English, it was not Kiswahili, it was somewhere in between. It's not Sheng.
But he called you out using proper English.
No, somebody must have written that for him. In fact, that's why I never replied to him, because I knew this is not his work. When you plagiarize, we don't give you credit. We acknowledge your work, your intellectual capacity, your intellect, your royalty, when we know this belongs to Richard. But how can I answer him on the work that was done by somebody else? Yeah.
You don't expect him to be more vocal in parliament anytime soon?
No, not any time. Not any time in the intervening period. And he has said in his own constituency that his job is to look for money. He does not have to waste time in parliament.
Fitina kidogo kidogo.
Yeah, because if those people in Kapseret elect him again, is it Kasese? No, Kapseret.
Kapseret, yeah.
Elect him again, is their mistake. You elect somebody, we can look for money and deal with them on the ground, but look for somebody else to represent them in parliament. And there are enough intellectuals in that constituency. There are enough intellectuals in Wasingishu. There are enough intellectuals in Kapseret. And there are enough serious Kenyans in Kapseret. Why they elect him? Because of buying plastic chairs and giving CDF which does not belong to him? It's up to them to make a choice. Whether they want to be part of national discourse or they just want to be led by somebody who cannot even read his own swearing in message. See, I don't know whether he was saying Mungu saidia or Mungu ingilia. Yeah, I can't remember what he said, but he mumbled some words.
In the fullness of time, what does history hold in store for him, for Kipchumba Murkomen and Oscar Sudi, who have been the biggest guardians of the
it will
ghetto?
be said they were here and they went.
Just that?
Yeah, many people like that. How many MPs we've had? It's unfortunate, actually, one of those who are called out not having uttered a word in parliament is my sitting MP. Yeah. What is his name? It's called Simiu. Patrick Simiu or Barasa Simiu. He's one of those who have not uttered a word. But when they are at home, they talk as if they are going to say something in Nairobi.
So today you're not a proud teacher? You never said a good president?
Well, I didn't vote for him, so it's okay. It can be in any other class. I didn't vote for him. I actually voted in Saboti for Caleb Amisi.
Oh,
whether
really?
he's doing the right thing, I don't know. But at least he's vocal.
All right.
Yeah.
There you have it. At that point, we take the conversation to a wrap. We've been discussing a raft of issues in the world of politics and governance, starting with what the future holds for us in the arena of governance, democracy. You've heard it from Waziri himself. As to whether the government will tap into his nuggets of wisdom, it remains to be seen. But for now, we hope that also you, as a citizen, are going to make better decisions, not just economic-wise, but also on the democratic space. Who is our hero today on the show?
He's a Professor Kiumbu Dhairu, born 1941, somewhere in central Kenya.
Come again, Professor?
Kiumbu Dhairu.
Kihumbu Dhairu.
Dhairu, yeah. He's a professor of medicine and somebody who has done a lot of work and written, among other things, on a book, The African Civilization, a book that I always like reading. It tells you the foundation of our knowledge, the issues that we need to demystify, and the need to not to be making the African standards as a lower standard compared to the international standards. Somebody who has transcended the landscape of academia, especially in the field of medicine. He's somebody that I respect a lot because he was at one time the director of KEMRI.
Oh.
He was at one time part of the biosafety team that was able to engender some kind of cautions that we need to put in this country to ensure that we do not embrace technology, especially when it comes to issues of biosafety, blindly. We must have certain safeguards. That food security is not just about producing food. It's about producing and preserving food that is of nutritional value, that does not poison the body. Because food, for the sake of it, can come. But food security is not akin to food sovereignty. You must have certain safeguards. This is a man now in his 80s, but he's somebody that I still respect greatly.
A true credit to the medical profession?
To the medical profession and also taking children to school. These are, somebody born 1941, that was colonial time. So the parents must have spent a lot of time and must have been infused with the wisdom to have taken him to school. And for him to have done well in school. Yeah, we realize he was 10 years younger than President Kibaki. So that's the older generation that made a contribution to this country. We are proud of them, and we thank God. We are praising him when he's still alive. Yep.
And have you two broke bread at some point?
Well, I've met him. I've met him once in a while in a number of places, but I've met him more in the writings that he has left behind. And even some of the articles that he has been able to author, both in terms of his life as a medical person, and also in life as a chairman of various institutions, including what I've said, the Biosafety Committee that informed the Minister for Health. At that time, it should have been the former Minister Mugo. Former Minister Mugo, the cousin to Uhuru.
Beth Mugo?
Beth Mugo. Yeah, about the issues of how cautious we need to move with these issues of biosafety.
Well, there you have it. Asante sana, Professor Thairu, for being a good child of the universe and literally leaving behind tremendous impact that would be felt beyond today. Thank you so much, Waziri, for coming to the show.
It's my pleasure to
Have a good one.
Same.
All right.